Hello friends, welcome. Now we have the model ready. Let's work with Alpine and the Meilisearch to do the same, something like this we have in the Laravel. Okay, so we filter, we search first something, and it's going to render here. Okay. If I open my VS Code and inside the layouts, GUIs layout here, we have the logic. So we have added the X data in the body and say model, and not model open, just let's select all of them and just say model. Okay, and I have run the npm run dev, good. Now if I come here, it's going to work. And because we can close the model by just clicking outside, it is not necessary to add this button, so let's remove that. So we have a div with input, and let's remove the button. So now it's more clean. Okay. Now what we want, if you go to the Meilisearch documentation, we have an example for JS. We can import the Meilisearch and then create a client, and then we can search in that client. So we have an example down there, client index, and search, adding the string inside. Okay, the same thing we are going to do, but just we need to change the index, which is going to be the articles, and in the search we need to add the string we are going to add in this input. So first we need to bind this input, and for that, because we are going to have not only the model open and the input binding, but we are going to have more data. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open the JS folder, and inside I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to name it components. You can name what you like. You can name, for example, Alpine. And in here, let's create a new file. I'm going to name it search.js. And in here, I'm going to export default a function. And here, we are going to return an object with the data. So what I'm going to return, so let's say I want to return this boolean. And now, instead of saying something like this in this X data, I want to use what we return from this file. To do that, if you go to the AlpineJS.dev documentation, down there, scroll down, we have the globals and Alpine data. And here we have an example in the script saying Alpine data, adding a name, and then a callback, or registering from a bundle. What I'm going to do, so we need to import the file and say Alpine data and adding the name and the import we have here. So let's do that. Let's go in the app.js. Here we have the AlpineJS. What I'm going to do, I'm going to import the search. So import the search file from here, and then down there I'm going to say Alpine dot data, add the name, search, and search. Yeah, like this. Save and close now. And in the guest, instead of something like this, we just need to point that. So here we have a drop down and we add the default true. In our case, I'm just going to say search. And with that, now if I go here and refresh, everything is going to work correctly. Good. First thing, let's bind the input. For that, let's create a new data. I'm going to name it query, which initially is going to be an empty string. Save, come here, and in the input, which is here, I'm going to add X model equal with that query. And to show you, let's add a span, which is going to be to display that X text. Not title, but query. So let's say query here, save, come here, and if I type something, yeah, we have bind that. Good. Now let's come here, and I want also to watch this, and when we type something, search to that index. And we have an example, as I said here. So let's come up here and find that example. Yeah, here we have with import syntax. So what I'm going to do first, let's create a index in here, and also let's say create index initially null and results, which initially is going to be an empty array or null. And then I'm going to create the init method. And if you don't know about that, you just can go here and read more in the xinit, which is the same, but we have added in this one. So in the init method, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a constant like this. First, we need to import the Meilisearch. So the same we have imported here. Let's import up here the Meilisearch. So I'm going to say import curly braces Meilisearch, and why we don't have, maybe it's the default export. Yeah, import the Meilisearch from Meilisearch and create a constant client in the init. I'm going to do that. So create a client, constant client, new Meilisearch, and the host is this URL, what we have here. Okay, and with that, now what I'm going to do also, I'm going to assign this index to the client index. So, and the index for us is not movies, but is the articles. Okay, so I'm going to say this dot client, yeah, is going to be equal with not client, this dot index is going to be equal with client index, not movies, but as I said, articles. And if I say right now console log this index, let's come here, inspect the element, go to the console, we have proxy, and the UID is articles. So this index is articles, client index articles. Very good. Now first let's watch for the changes and then search in this index. So we can search by saying something like this, client index, but because this index is the client index, we just can say this index search and add the string. But as I said, I want first to watch for the query where it's going to change. And to do that, let's create a new method. I'm going to say watch query, I'm going to name it. And in here, I'm going to say this dot $sign watch query, and let's add the query here. And let's close this. Okay. And in here, I'm going to say if the query is triple equal to an empty array, empty string, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say this result is going to be null, and let's return. Otherwise, I'm going just to console log for now the query. Yeah, save. But before that, if I come here and refresh, nothing is going to happen. So if I open that and type something, because we need to call this on init. So in here, I'm going to say this dot watch query. Call this method, and now if I clean and let's search for something, as you can see, we bind or we watch for the query here. Good. Now we watch for that. Instead of just console log in here, I'm not going to console log, but I'm going to search. So I'm going to say, let's say this dot index, search for query, then results, and let's say this results equal with results. And if I console log the results, not results but these results, this dot results, let's save and let's clean this, search, type something, and we have a proxy here. So this results is an object, and we have hits here, which is an array with 20 objects. Very good. So we have the results, but instead of console log, and we don't need the console log, but also what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new method. So let's say a search method, and in this search I'm going to add a query. Okay, let's close this. It's going to work the tab 9 for us, and let's say this search, this result, sorry, is going to be equal with this index search and add the query. Cut, paste it here, and remove this thing. And instead of something like this, I just call this search, this dot search, and add the query. Very good. Now if I console log the results, console log these results again, come here, clear this up, and let's search, type something, and we have a promise. So we need to make this async await. Let's do that async and await here, and let's save and let's try again. So yeah, now we have a proxy again which has 20 hits. Good. So now the results are okay. What I want is, let's work to display the results in here. So we have the input. This is flex item center justify between, and let's remove this one. Just I'm going to say with full. Come here, and yeah. Okay, then down there I'm going to say, first I'm going to say template and x if we have a result. So if we have a results, because results is by default null. So if not null, I'm going to display something in here, and that something is the hits we have. So for that I'm going to, let's add a div with a class, and I'm going to say py2 and px3. And first thing, let's display. So let's come here again, save, and we have a console log results. Okay, good. If you see in the results, we have an object and we have this estimated total hits. So if I type something else and see this one, the estimated total hits is 0. So how many hits we have with this query searched? So for that I'm going to display in here. So let's say if I come here and let's say found, and we need to use a span x text results, not results length, but results and estimated total hits. So let's copy that string and paste it here. So if I save and see now, yeah, I found 100 results. Okay. Now if I type something else, find 0 results. Good. Then after this one, I'm going to display the hits. So then we need to make an v4, or not v4, x4. It's not Vue.js, but it's Alpine, so we need to make x4 results hits and display the title. Okay, so let's do that after this one. And here I'm going to add a template. I'm going to say x show. I'm going to show this if the results hits length is greater than 0. So results hits length hits is an array. If the length is greater than 0, I'm going to show this, and I'm going to make the x4 here. So x4 equal, and add here parentheses. I'm going to say hit and index. I'm going to add the index in results dot hits. Okay. And now after that, let's close the template. Inside this, let's display an anchor tag, and I'm going to say href. For now, just add the hash in here. And let's display inside here an h2 and say x text equal with hit title. Okay, x text hit dot title, and close this one. And then we need to style this, but for now, just to see the results. So if I type something, yeah, we have, and by default the limit is 20, as you can see here. Good. Now let's add some styling. So in this anchor tag, I'm going to say add a class to be block with full, and let's say py 2 px of 3, and I'm going to add border. So border bottom, and in the border bottom I'm going to say border slate 200. I think it's okay. Let's save. Come here and let's search the, yeah, here we have something like this now. It can be better, but it's okay for me. Now, if you don't want the limit to be 20, because as you can see, it's maybe too big, we can add in the search. So here, a second parameter, which is going to be a number, any. So I'm going to say a limit, for example, 10. And if I save and let's search now, we have 10 results. Okay, friends, that's it about this video. In the next video now, if you would like, you can skip and just work with that. You can add here, for example, in the anchor tag, href, and let's say, for example, articles/articles, and let's add backticks /articles $, and hit .id. And we need to bind this. We can say x bind, and let's search now for something like this. And as you can see, we have articles and the ID then. Or you can add the URL slug, but that's it, the example. So this is about this video, and don't forget, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel.